Hi there, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to show you the 3 ways that I like to use to play open tones on the pandeiro, as well as how you can manipulate the pitch of tones. The actual playing technique of the tones will apply to both pandeiros of nylon heads or natural heads, but the pitch bend will only apply to pandeiro pelicoro, which is natural head. So let's fire in. If you're new here, my name is Ferguson. I'm a percussionist based in Edinburgh, and I've been playing pandeiro for a while now. So I just want to share what I've learned over the years. So let's get into a quick reminder about pandeiro moderno technique. It's kind of a joint effort between both your right hand and your left. So when I'm playing all of these tones, note that I'm putting as much effort in with the left as I am with the right. Not the left and the right. The first tone we're going to talk about is the traditional tone, and this is used in pandeiro playing since the very first pandeiro, I think. Don't quote me on that. I don't know what they did. So this tone is with your thumb and you're whipping it against the bottom side of the skin. Each pandeiro has a sweet spot, and it sort of depends on the pandeiro where exactly you hit and with how much of your thumb you hit, but typically you're whipping your thumb, kind of letting it bounce, but not like rushing to take it away from the pandeiro either. And this is how it sounds. So for this pandeiro, for instance, I'm using all of this part of the thumb. This kind of padded part is the bit that's hitting off kind of the flat rim of the instrument. That's the traditional OG tone of the pandeiro. Moving swiftly on to what I kind of coin as the moderno tone. The moderno one is the tone invented by Marco Susano when he kind of crafted the moderno style. And this is just playing a tone in the top half of your hand. It's almost the opposite side of the pandeiro. If you were to go straight up, I play the moderno tone with my middle and ring finger. And I've kind of cheated on my pandeiro. Where the tape kind of crosses, that is my mark for roughly the sweet spot on this pandeiro for the moderno tone. Now, the way to think about this is it's got a slightly warmer tone colour than, say, the traditional open. Whereas the moderno one in the upper half of the hand, you're kind of letting it bounce, but you're not in a rush to come away from the drum. I kind of almost stab the fingers in, and I tend to play it on the tips of the fingers rather than, say, the sort of front flat bit. And unlike a note when you're hitting off the placinelles on the side, you want to be on the skin. And the beauty of this tone is that it can be played anywhere on the pandeiro around the rim. So for instance, once you've got it down, you can play it up here as well. The way Marco Susano described the difference between those two tones to me was the upper half, or the moderno tone, is more like an 808 kick drum compared to an acoustic drum kit kick drum on the traditional one. So again, another way to think about it is it's a slightly warmer sound, but that single tone totally opened up my playing and made me more inspired to play this instrument. It's a sound that's really worth coming to grips with. The third and final actual technique to play tones that I sometimes use, I'm using it more and more these days, it has to be said, and that's essentially playing it like a tone on a hand drum. So I originally saw this from a friend, Stu Hardcastle, who's an amazing conga player, and playing it, he applied it to the pandeiro, where essentially you play it like an open tone on any other drum. So it's similar to the traditional tone, same kind of percentage of your fingers, but it's coming from these three. Plenty of other pandeiro players use this now, especially on nylon skin pandeiros. It sounds really, really nice. Players like Carlos Cafe, for instance. So I'm using from where my fingers meet my hand as a kind of marking point, and you're not coming away and bouncing off the pandeiro, but you're not resting the fingers down either. This again is a bit of a warmer tone, and I'm using the full kind of length of my fingers on the drum, and that's the contact. Nothing should really be hitting off the rim. That's not where you want the contact to be, because that'll just hurt your finger. This tone works really well with what I like to call open grooves. And by open grooves, I just mean it's just tones and slaps. So there's no filling in the gaps with Placinellas. The main example is like a Partido Alto, which I'll show in another video. If that's been made already, it'll be linked up here. So let's move on to pitch adjustment. So I'm cheating a little bit in that I've got a clip-on mic, but I'll try and use some of the other mics in the room that I've got placed to try and help you hear it in a different way. Because the clip-on mic has a bit of a bias and really brings out the tone. Link up here to recording your pandeiro. That is a really good guide to let you hear the difference between the same pandeiro tuned in the same way. So pitch adjustment on a natural headed instrument is from the thumb. So what you're doing is you're pinching harder with your thumb as you're making a tone, and the harder you pinch it, the higher pitched it'll go. And the lower tuned your instrument is, it means that you can pinch a little bit and get a bigger difference. So I've seen pandeiro players being able to play entire bass lines through this pinching mechanism. But because this skin is tuned up a little bit, I say a little bit, it's not super high pitched, but it's not super low either. It's a little bit harder to get all the nuances. And it's kind of going up microtonally rather than saying whole steps and half steps. And this pinching technique on a natural headed instrument works on all three of these tones. All the same amount. That's all the time I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned for more lessons on the pandeiro and other Brazilian percussion and whatever else I decide to make videos about. Hopefully see you in the next one.